Good afternoon, class. So, today we will be just completing the remaining question answers. This is a special video that I made for completing the question answers of the chapter packing. Okay. So, in my previous two classes I have completed some questions. So, today I plan to complete everything, the remaining portion. So, the next question that I have given you, that is why the narrator said this. What is the this? The this is page number 86, paragraph number 10. I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life. So why the narrator said this line? This was the question. So write down the answer. So I'm just telling the answer, you just write it down. George and Harris, comma, the worst packers, George and Harris, comma, the worst packers of the world, were confused what to do with a little piece of butter. What to do with a little piece of butter. Full stop. At first, George stepped over it. At first, George stepped over it by mistake and removed it from his slipper. Full stop. Then they tried to put the butter in a kettle with much difficulties, and again had to take it out without any reason, and kept it on a chair. Full stop. Harris sat on the chair while the butter stuck to his back. Full stop. Then both were so confused that they started searching for that simple piece of butter all over the room, and finally discovering it from the back of Harris. Full stop. The narrator hilariously commented about their confused activities with a simple 1 and 2 pence worth of butter. Full stop. Okay, so that is the answer. So next question you come. Next question is, who was Montmorency? Next question, subpart number 1 is, who was Montmorency? Subpart number 2 is, what was Montmorency's ambition in life? What was Montmorency's ambition in life? Full stop. Sorry, question mark. So for this answer you write Montmorency. You know, Montmorency was the pet dog of the narrator. Okay, he was the pet, it was the pet dog of the narrator. So in the next question, what was his ambition in life? So there you write, see paragraph number 12. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sown at. This you write, and then you give a little bit of explanation, means how. So here you say that he used to disturb people to such an extent that finally the person will become so much agitated that he will curse and hit him. So that is the ambition. Okay, so once you write the statement from the book, that is from this paragraph number 12, Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sown at. After full stop, you give one more line to explain this statement. Okay, talking about the disturbance. Next, explain the line. Next question, explain the line. So what is the line? Page number 87. Page number 87, paragraph number 12, last line. Paragraph number 12, last line, page number 87. That is, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. His conceit becomes quite unbearable. Explain. So for this answer you write down, it is referred to Montmorency, the narrator's pet dog. It is referred to Montmorency, comma, the narrator's pet dog, full stop. The narrator explains the behavior of the dog. The narrator explains the behavior of the dog after he has achieved his highest aim, after he has achieved his highest aim and object by disturbing someone to the extent of getting sown and hit at, HIT, hit at, full stop. His pride in himself becomes unbearable. His pride in himself becomes unbearable, and he gets overwhelmed with excitement. Okay, that is the answer. The next question, how would Montmorency disturb George and Harris while they were packing? How would Montmorency disturb George and Harris while they were packing? So this part you write down. Montmorency would come and sit down on things. Montmorency would come and sit down on things that were being packed. That were being packed. Full stop. Whenever Harris or George reached out their hands for anything, whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, they would touch the damp nose of the dog. The damp nose of the dog. Full stop. He would spoil the things by putting his leg into the jam, comma, worrying the teaspoons, comma, chasing the lemons, imagining them to be rats, and finally spoiling those lemons inside the hamper. Okay? Next question. What was the dog's original sin? Next question. What was the dog's original sin? Or you can also write, what was Montmorency's original sin? So for this you write, the original sin of Montmorency was his nature, that always instigates him to create nuisance in everyone's life, in the name of fun, F-U-N. Done. The next question. What was the argument between the narrator and Harris before going to bed? What was the argument between the narrator and Harris before going to bed? So for this you know the answer, that they were arguing about the time of waking them up. So the narrator wanted to wake up by 6, whereas Harris wanted to wake up by 7. Okay, so that's all for the questions, and let us see whether we have discussed the exercise questions all or not. So here you see, like number 1, how many characters are there in the narrative? Name them. Don't forget the dog, so you can obviously answer this question. The narrator means Jerome K. Jerome, his two friends George and Harris, and Montmorency. Why did the narrator volunteer to do the packing? Because he wanted to boss the job. Already I have said the answer. How did George and Harris react to this? Did Jerome like their reaction? So this also we have written in some other questions in some other way. So George and Harris, they, instead of doing the work, they sat in 2 different places doing nothing. And how did Jerome like their reaction? No, Jerome was actually irritated to see that. Next, what was Jerome's real intention when he offered to pack? Okay, so what was Jerome's real intention? So regarding this real intention, you are going to write that he wanted to boss the job. And why did the narrator volunteer to do the packing? For this question, I am sorry, like I said, I made a mistake. So for this, you have to say that he believed himself to be superior in these packing activities. You have to write that answer. Next, what did Harry say after the bag was shut and strapped? Why do you think he waited till then to ask? So here you say that Harry told him, reminded him that he has forgotten to pack the boots. So why he waited? He waited purposefully in order to irritate him, okay, in order to taunt him. Next, what was the horrible idea occurred to Jerome a little later? So that horrible idea, what was that horrible idea? I have given you the note. I have already discussed. So what did about the toothbrush? What did Jerome finally find in the toothbrush? That also you know, in the boot. Why did Jerome have to reopen the bag? So Jerome have to reopen the bag several times. You have to give the reason. At first he reopened the bag because he had to pack the boot. Next he reopened the bag because he had to search for his toothbrush. Again he had to reopen the bag because he left his spectacle inside the bag. Okay, so those three reasons you have to say, mention here. What did George and Harris offer to pack and why? So that also I have already given you the answer. So number 10 is not needed. Next, question number 2, that is Roman 2. That is, why does Jerome say Montmorency's ambition in life? What was Jerome say was Montmorency's ambition? This also I said in this video. What do you think of Montmorency and why? So you can write it. What do you think of Montmorency? So Montmorency was a very excited and naughty dog. Okay. And you can also add, he loved to get attention of everyone. Therefore, he purposefully was doing such things. And these are the long question. One of the three, Jerome, George, Harris, do you think is the best or worst packer? Support your answer with detail from the text. So for this is your value-based question. What you will write? See, according to the narrator, George and Harris was obviously the worst packer, and it is very much evident as they created such a mess. Okay. Now coming to the narrator, whether the narrator was really a good packer or a bad packer. As the narrator was claiming himself to be a very good packer, so here in this case, you have to write that though the narrator claimed himself to be a good packer, but after reading this entire text, it is our opinion, or it is my opinion, that he was actually not that much skillful packer. First reason you will tell that he took such a long time while completing the first packing, and then after packing he kept on forgetting so many things. So that is obviously not the characteristics of a good packer. Okay, so in this way you explain. Make it big, 8 marks. 8 marks means not too much, 100 to 150 words, remember that. How did Montmorency contribute to the packing? So here also you will just simply tell his activities, how he was disturbing and how he was making everyone feel irritated. So that was his contribution in the packing. He just extended the packing activity a little bit more. That was his contribution. Do you find this story funny? What are the humorous elements in it? Pick out at least 3. Think about what happens as well as how it is described. So obviously the story is very funny. You have to pick out the humorous elements, at least 3 humorous elements. So you can mention about the dog. Obviously the dog is a humorous element. Next humorous element is the narrator himself, the way he is talking, okay, the way he is acting. And the next was that episode of butter episode, George and Harris and the butter episode. Okay, so these 3 you can say. So regarding the narrator, you can say that the narrator was keep on forgetting things. Once that boot, then his toothbrush. So the toothbrush you can write about a humorous episode. You can include the toothbrush as a humorous episode here. Okay, toothbrush, butter and Montmorency. Fine, that will be done. Just explain what happened and how it is funny. Okay, so that's all for this chapter, end of the chapter, question answers. Whatever possible question answers was supposed to happen from this chapter, I have discussed in these 3 classes. Okay, I hope you have understood. So wait for my next class. I will be starting with the new text hereafter. Bye bye.